Hey guys, it's me, Real Bevel here, and you know what time it is?
No, 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 hell no, 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 I refuse, no!
Yes, it's review time, and today I'm going to review a game that I absolutely love, and that game is Suikoden 3. And Suikoden 3 is actually the second Suikoden game I've ever tried. And to be honest, of all the Suikoden games I've tried, this one is the best out of the bunch in my opinion. Even though Suikoden 3 is considered a big departure from the rest of the series, I still loved it to the very end. And one of the reasons why I love it so much is actually the game's story. But to be honest, it's going to be really hard for me to describe the story of Suikoden 3 to you guys because there are a lot of things that go on in the story. But I'll try my best to really get down to the basics and show you why I really love this game's story. The reason I really love it is the fact that you don't just star as one character. You actually star as 3 characters and you have to go on their journey to find the Flame Champion. And the reason the Flame Champion is so important is because 50 years ago, the nation of Harmonia decided to take over the lands of the Zexan Federation and the Grasslands. And Harmonia was winning until one person who called himself the Flame Champion not only helped the Zexan Federation and Grasslands come to better terms with each other, but also stopped all their differences so they can unite together and stop Harmonia once and for all. And in the end, Harmonia did lose, but 50 years later, unity between the Grasslands and the Zexan Federation is pretty much lost. They really don't care about each other that much, and conflicts between the two lands are rising. And history seems to be repeating itself again, since the Harmonian army is trying to do another attack on the Grasslands and Zexan. And it's up to the 3 main characters of the story to find the Flame Champion and stop this attack once and for all. Now, before I talk about the game's graphics, sound, gameplay, etc., I want to go over the 3 main characters of the game's story because they're such a big part of the game, since not only do you just play as 3 characters with the same common goals, same common viewpoint, you actually play as 3 completely different characters with 3 really different viewpoints. Like, for example, one character you play as is Hugo. He's a Grasslander who's also soon to be chief of his clan. There's also Chris, who is the leader of the Zexan Knights. And lastly, there's Jado. He's a mercenary who actually works for the Harmonian Southern Defense Force. And what's so cool about this game's story is the fact that you could choose any of the 3 characters in any order you want. And it really gives a person a unique take on the game's story. Like, for example, I started off with Jado first. And if someone started off with Hugo, they'll probably have a different take on the story than I did. And I found that a very unique feature about this game, and I absolutely loved it. Story-wise, in my opinion, it was absolutely amazing. I was hooked from the very beginning to the very end, and it didn't let me go at all. Absolutely fantastic video game story in my opinion. Actually, it's just not just a good video game story, it's just a great story overall, and I really suggest, if you really enjoy stories in video games, I really highly suggest you play Suikoden 3. Now, graphically, this game won't blow you away, but it's not a bad looking game at all, especially back when it came out back in 2002. And the problem is that the character models were a bit simple, the environments are also pretty simple also, and the fact is that some of the animation was a bit awkward to me. But overall, like, if graphics don't really mean that much to you, the game won't really bother you that much. I still enjoyed the game's graphics. It's very reminiscent of Skies of Arcadia. Overall, while I don't think the game's graphics look bad, considering the time it came out, I really felt like they could have been really improved upon on a lot of different areas. Sound-wise, there isn't that much to talk about because sadly this game has no voice acting whatsoever. It's all in text, which is a bit of a shame. But the game's soundtrack I felt was really good. I really enjoyed a lot of the game's tunes, and a lot of Suikoden fans didn't like the soundtrack as much as the others. And while I agree it's not the strongest Suikoden soundtrack, it was still a rather good soundtrack in general. But the one problem I do have is that some cutscenes, they absolutely have no background music whatsoever. And since there's no voice acting, you'll just hear just complete silence while you're just reading text. And I don't know why the developers decided to go that route with some of the game's cutscenes. Gameplay, though, is the real reason what makes Suikoden 3 stand out from its crowd, and the gameplay is just absolutely fantastic. The reason I like the gameplay in Suikoden 3 so much is because of the game's battle system. Because while it is still turn-based, there's still a lot of strategy to consider, like positioning, since characters do move around the battlefield, and that's important because some magic spells, or runes as they're called in the game, take up a certain section of the battlefield, and if your party member is in the same area as the rune, they have a chance of getting hit by that rune, so you would have to decide your position wisely if you want to keep your party members alive. Another cool feature that I enjoyed about the battle system is some of the runes can actually take more than one turn to activate, and if an enemy attacks you hard enough, it can actually cancel your spell, but you can also do the same thing back to the enemy, so in a way it's sort of like a double-edged sword, and it really does add a lot of strategy and depth to an already great battle system. Even though I really did enjoy the game's battle system, I do have one problem, and that is while you can have a party of 6, you can only order them in pairs, so you can only give one order to 2 members, and not only is that limiting to your strategic options, it also makes the game unnecessarily harder than it needed to be, but I still don't let this flaw keep you away, since overall I really did love the battle system. But that's not all the game has to offer for combat. There are also war battles, which kind of play out like a strategy board game, and duels, which are honestly just super fun for me, in which one-on-one battles occur during this game's story, and you have a choice between attacking, defending, or doing a death blow. It kind of plays out like a game of rock, paper, scissors, in which attack is strong against defense, defense is strong against death blow, and death blow is strong against attack. I found both war battles and duels to be really fun and really help break up the pace rather well, but sadly they do come in few and far between. Outside of battle though is really what makes Suikoden really unique compared to other RPGs. And of course you can explore towns, talk to NPCs, buy armor, etc, etc. But what's really cool is the fact that you get to have your own castle in the game, and you can recruit up to 108 people, which are called 108 Stars of Destiny, and recruiting them is not only just really fun, they also can give you different mini-games from horse riding to making plays, and also if you do recruit all 108 Stars of Destiny, you do get a very special bonus in the end that I highly recommend you try to get. The problem is though that getting all 108 stars is nearly impossible without a game guide, and without it I probably wouldn't have recruited all the characters, so I do suggest you do check online for help. Even with all the things that I've said in this review, there's just so much to this game that if I just talked about every single little thing that's in the game, it would arguably take up double my time just to review this game. I haven't mentioned the game's amazing skill system, which you can choose and upgrade your skills for each of your party members, or the fact that you get to decorate your castle. There's just so much to this game, and the creators just put a whole ton of content to this game, and you could really tell the creators wanted to make this product as good as possible. Now, with all the good things that I said about Suikoden 3, why does this game need more love? Well, the fact is that the Suikoden series in general is just supremely underrated. There are a lot of great games in the series, and there are only a few bad ones. I absolutely love the third one. It's actually my favorite in the series. And I really hope that more people get to play this game, and it's really sad that I'm actually the first person to make a full-blown review of a game that came out back in 2002. And it's just a huge shame. I really suggest that you get this game as soon as possible. The game is really cheap. It's just a ton of fun. I mean, great story, great characters. I really can't give a higher recommendation. The only problem I had with this game was his backtracking. And if you can get over that, you really will have a great gem of a game. And as always, guys, I'm Rio Bubbo, and peace out.